and I know what it was. I didn't sleep that night. For some, I don't know why. My own personal problem. It had nothing to do with Nina. It had nothing to do with the ship. It had nothing to do with anything. I just got into my head that night and could not sleep. So I was up most of the night, which was kind of crappy. And then we had ordered room service breakfast.
We had planned, because we had planned such a full day in Amsterdam, we thought we would go ahead and order room service. There is a charge for that, but it is offset if you order sort of paid for menu items. So we had each ordered some coffees and had our service fee waived as a result. But we had ordered a full breakfast in anticipation of getting an early start into Amsterdam.
And then we just didn't. The breakfast was delivered and neither of us was like ready to get up and eat it. So it sat for a little while before we actually got up and
also the way it was packaged, it stayed warm. It was lovely. It came in this sort of sack, this hot sack, and it was great.
Yeah, it was good. And I was just dragging. You were having to just kind of pull me along that morning. But we got out and the sunshine helped and we started walking. So it's a pretty decent walk. It's a nice walk. It's an easy walk. It's flat and it's paved and all that kind of good stuff. But it's a decent walk from where the ship is docked to get into the city, like center of the city. But we enjoyed the walk and talked and got into the center of the city. So I had found this guy on Facebook.
Yes.
I don't know, a month or 2 months before the trip. His business is called Casanova, which basically means cheese lover.
I think it's a play on Casanova, but Käse in German means cheese. So he was the cheese Nova, the cheese Casanova, cheese lover.
Yeah. And British guy who was a cheesemonger for many, many years and spent many, many years selling British cheese in France. And then Brexit happened and that kind of upset his apple cart with his business. And he's involved in a long-term romantic relationship with a lovely Dutch woman. But then he had to go back to Britain. Long story short, he now lives in Amsterdam and he does these cheese tours. And you can do a private one with him, but on Saturdays he does group ones. And we managed to get 2 spots on the one he was doing that Saturday. And so we met up.
And side note, if you can get a spot with Casanova, do it.
Definitely. So yeah, it was just, this was not through Virgin. This was just on our own. There were, 7 people on the
it was
walk?
a relatively small group.
And we were the only ones from the ship.
Right. And they were from everywhere. There were some fellow Americans with us, but also other Europeans.
Just folks that happened to be traveling in Amsterdam. So yeah, we met up on a street corner and it was great. We walked around, Amsterdam is just beautiful. You could just wander and do nothing there and have a great time. But we walked around and he took us to a market and took us to his favorite cheese sellers in the market and bought all this different cheese and was telling us about the cheese and why he was buying it and what he liked about it, just teaching us the whole time. Bought all this cheese. We had the opportunity to buy some for ourselves that we could take home.
That they sealed for us.
Yeah, they vacuum packed it and everything. And then we ended up at a little tiny Dutch wine shop that was almost like a speakeasy. We had to walk into a bakery, a
stroopwafel bakery.
Millie's Cookie Bar was what it was called. And there was like an archway in the back. And we went down this tiny spiral staircase to this little room. And there's this Dutch wine seller. He only deals with Dutch wine. And he's right, the window is up at street level. You're down below the street, but you're looking out
at people's little feet as they're walking on the sidewalk.
So there was a little table set up, and we had Dutch wine and
the cheeses that we had just purchased at the market.
Yeah, and we had wonderful conversation and tasted all of these different cheeses. And learned so much.
We learned so much about the proper maintenance and care of cheese, the scraping, the rotating, the airing, the flavor profiles. It was awesome.
And afterwards, he actually even sent us a PDF, like a little short ebook kind of thing that went over a lot of the stuff that he covered, so we didn't have to try and remember it all. So just an incredible experience. Highly, highly, highly recommend. We finished that up and we had probably just an hour and a half or so before we had to get back to the ship. So I did, a tiny little bit of souvenir shopping.
A little bit of shopping, little bit of wandering.
Yeah. And then we got back to the ship.
We did.
What did we do? Oh, we had pink agave for dinner that night.
We did. So we had some shows lined up for that night. So we needed to eat.
Well, it wasn't shows that night. It was Scarlet Night. Was that
that's
night?
right.
Scarlet Night was that night. So we got back and
Goodness.
freshened up, and then went to pink agave for dinner, but not in our Scarlet Night outfits. So we got to pink agave, and we had 5:15 reservations, I think, because I wanted to leave plenty of time to get ready for Scarlet Night, and so we were just in the same clothes we'd had in Amsterdam. You changed your shirt.
I think I did. I think I changed after walking all day. I was hot. And
But lots of people, even at 5:15, were already wearing their red, and so we were kind of like, "Oh God, we're out of place."
Oh no, we're out of place. That's right. Not that anyone said a word to us, but pink agave was lovely. It was just, for us, it ended up being a bit of a quickie meal. Mm-hmm. We enjoyed it thoroughly. They have some amazing dishes. They had the street corn, which I thought was absolutely delightful. The margaritas, absolutely delightful. We had a lovely shrimp dish. We had just a wide array of empanadas and other goodies.
Did we both have the steak?
I don't think we both ordered the steak. I think I ordered the shrimp and you ordered the steak.
Yeah, they have this steak that's smothered in cheese. And it's a Mexican style steak, and I'd heard great things about it, and it was amazing. And I felt bad that I couldn't eat more, but we were full of cheese.
Full of cheese.
Cheese kind of sits, so I was very full. And we were going to get dressed up for Scarlet Night, so I was trying to be mindful of the dreaded bloat factor. But a great meal. That was probably my favorite dinner, actually, even though it was quick.
Really?
Yeah. Although I love Test Kitchen a lot, I loved all. I can't say it was my husband and I are going on a Virgin Voyage in next March, so several months from now, and I feel like that's going to be his favorite restaurant. So,
really, pink agave?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he loves the Mexican thing. So, anyway, that was a great night, and then we went and got ready for Scarlet Night.
And then we went back to our rooms just to have enough time to relax and get ready for Scarlet Night.
And I did it up pretty big for Scarlet Night. So that was the one night that I really broke out all the makeup and even did false eyelashes.
So a little hint, and you'll hear so much more, I promise, when we introduce ourselves for real. But Shannon has a little bit of a flirtation with feathers and eyelashes and baubles and sparkles. It's probably more than a little flirtation.
Yeah, it's more like an obsession.
Maybe a full-blown obsession, yes. So, it was really fun getting ready. We were kind of two teens in our dorm room together, getting dressed for a fun night out, doing the hair, doing the makeup. I was in heels, and I'm not a dressy up kind of gal, but I got into it too, and it was really the getting ready part was just so much fun.
So I was very adamant that we be at the roundabout where the stairs are in the atrium, that we be seated right up front, right before 9:00, so that we have like front row seats for the opening ceremonies of Scarlet Night. And
that leads to core memory, perhaps, or maybe just funny, ridiculous experience. Number 4 on my list. We met, or actually, I shouldn't even say that. Shannon, the sultry siren, drew into her sphere Poseidon himself. So a little backstory. I think we've already mentioned that we were really, really excited about being invited to all the secret events. We thought for sure that we would crack the code and get an invite to a secret party or a secret happening or a secret event. And so on Scarlet Night, that was going to be our night. We were going to land that invitation.
So there is this thing, this invite-only thing that happens on Scarlet Night called the Tentacle Tour. And I think Mega Rock Stars kind of have an in if they want it, but the cast is allowed to invite other people too. Mm-hmm. And so it is something that you could just get picked for. And I'm like, we're so eager. But again, we did not invest enough time, I think, with the Happenings cast for them to really know who we were.
Right.
But we were sitting there front and center, like ready for Scarlet Night to start. And then Poseidon is standing there. And this is a gentleman who was fully dressed as
Poseidon.
Committed.
He was Poseidon.
And he was just standing there with his trident And I really thought he worked for
And
Virgin.
he had a name tag on,
Yeah.
a Virgin name tag on.
Which I didn't look at too closely.
It was a Virgin facsimile.
Or maybe they gave it to, I don't know. We both thought that he was, it's like I hadn't seen him before. Is that a member
Maybe
of the
he's
cast?
a member of
like,
the cast.
I don't know. And he's like just standing there and he's looking and he's looking and he's got this heart necklace that lights up. Mm-hmm. And at some point, did he come over to me or did he call me over to him?
No, he came over to you.
Oh, okay.
So we're having cocktails in this roundabout area.
There's big octopus tentacles
all around us, and we're on this sort of bench seating, just chatting with our neighbors.
Yeah, we were chatting.
And he's making complete eyes at Shannon over here. And Shannon, by the way, full sparkle, full getup, full hair, the lashes, the whole 9 yards. And she's sort of looking at him, mostly because she's pretty sure that he's going to be our secret to the invite.
Right.
The secret night. And he's making full eyes, like full flirtatious eyes with his trident and just striking poses. And finally he saunters over to her and puts around her neck this mysterious heart-shaped scarlet knight necklace.
Oh, I still have it.
Yes.
We're not at home right now. That's why we don't have all this stuff on hand.
We don't have our props.
No, but it lights up. So I don't remember if he turned it on or if I turned it on.
He turned it on, and I was like, Shannon, you're in! You got an invitation! I want an invitation!
He said nothing to me.
No.
He said nothing, and so I really didn't know what it meant.
No, but we speculated for sure.
Yeah, and then he gave one to you, too.
Then he gave one to me, because then I'm making full eyes at him, because I want an invitation, too.
And then eventually he ended up giving
And then he sauntered over to me and gave me one.
To you.
And then he eventually gave some to our neighbors.
Yeah. None of it meant anything. Apparently, we later discovered he's just a serial cruiser who is like constantly, I don't know, specifically on Resilient Lady or just constantly across different Virgin Voyages ships. I don't know what his life story is, that he just gets to cruise all the time, and he's just really committed to that persona for Scarlet Night. And he, I guess, buys these little, because I later saw when we went shopping on Sunday that these necklaces were for sale in one of the shops.
In the gift shop, yeah.
And they were very inexpensive. It wasn't a lot of money, but he must just buy them in bulk, and then he gives them out it's something he enjoys doing, which is so sweet. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. But we were very like, we were not in.
We were a little over the top that night.
So yeah, they open Scarlet Night there, and then all the cast is dancing on the staircase, and it's all very exciting. And then they do this like faux wedding.
They do.
Where they pull people up, and I was a little sad that I didn't get picked. But it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Totally fine.
So fine.
I wasn't dressed to the nines for nothing, but it's fine. So we watched the wedding ceremony situation, and then they invited us to the reception, which was in the Grounds Club, which was like a coffee bar. But they had DJ Iconics was over there spinning tunes, and they actually handed us champagne when we walked in there. I wasn't expecting more free champagne.
One of the Happenings cast members just walked up to us and handed us some more champagne.
Yeah, so that was like the wedding reception, and so there was like a little dance party.
And not everyone got champagne. I'm not sure why we got selected. Maybe because you were dressed to the nines.
Maybe. My dog's here. Hi.
Hi, everyone. Meet Rolo. This is Rolo.
So yeah, we danced there. And then we went to see, there's a little, the hostess, who we had not seen the entire voyage at that point.
And we were concerned because there was a medical emergency on the ship.
On Friday morning.
They announced it. They had a helicopter fly into the flight pad and pick up a crew member and whisk them away. And we were given no further information.
Right, and we hadn't seen her, and I knew that was unusual, so I was concerned it was her. But she was there. She was Saturday night. And the hostess does a secrets, what's it called? Hostess sings her secrets. It's a little like 15-minute thing in the Red Room, which is the main theater area. And it happens, I think she does 3 or 4 times during the night. So you can go at any one of those times, and she basically sings about the backstory for Scarlet Night, which is a love story about a sailor who falls in love with an octopus goddess, and she's the octopus goddess.
And let me just say, again, Virgin hires top-notch talent.
Oh.
I mean, mind-blowing talent.
She's just absolutely stunningly beautiful and has an incredible voice.
Millie the hostess was her
Yes,
name
yes.
on our ship.
Yes, so we went and did that. And then we headed to the pool deck because everything culminates in this big performance around the pool, and that turns into a wild dance party. And and I had seen lots of footage, and I was prepped. I was ready to go.
Oh.
And the performances were incredible. Millie comes out, she sings. There's the circus
divas
performers
out there,
are doing
yeah.
acrobatic stuff. The whole dance and happenings cast are dancing around the pool. Then they get into the pool in the shallow, like there's a really shallow ends. There's just a couple of inches, and they dance there, and they're kicking water in your face and stuff. And then it's like a free-for-all, and everybody can
Not
jump in.
everybody, but everybody is welcome to jump in.
And I really didn't think. I mean, we're now sailing through the North Sea
It's chilly.
in September, and I was not thinking that I was going to want to get in the pool, but everybody was getting in the pool, and I was like, I want to get in the
You
pool.
were in the moment.
I
And
was in the
also,
moment.
I'd like to point out, Shannon's wearing this stunning velvet evening gown.
Okay, it is a velvet dress. It was not like it was just past my knees, I think, and I've had it for a really long time. It's a bit worn out. And I also, I had lost some weight in the last year, so it used to fit me really snug, and it is very form-fitting, but it wasn't tight like it used to be when I first started wearing it. So, and it does have straps. They're just like clear plastic, and then I was wearing this rhinestone bolero jacket kind of thing over it, and which was actually quite heavy, but I didn't think about that. And I had fishnets, and I had these fun, chunky sparkle boot things on. So when I decided that I was ready to get in the pool, I pulled Nina aside.
Hold me to the edge.
I pulled off my shoes and my fishnets, stuffed them in my shoes, stuck my phone in there, and I literally just left it.
Did you leave your bolero jacket on? I can't remember.
I did leave. Yeah, I left the jacket
didn't
on, and
remember
that
that.
comes into play later because I just left my stuff. Like later on, I went back and got my phone from there, and I was like, I am very trusting. Like I didn't even try and hide this. I didn't have you hold on to it.
No.
Like I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't want to get my shoes wet, and the reality here's a little tip. I was wearing fishnets, but I had socks on under the fishnets because I was wearing little boots, so you couldn't see the socks with the boots on. But fishnets are really uncomfortable on your feet. So if I'm wearing them with shoes where I can get away with it, I always wear socks underneath them. But I was not gonna like take my shoes off and then get in the pool with my fishnets and socks because that's not a look. So I had to take then I had to take all the fishnets off too. So then I come back and I get into the shallow part of the pool, and I'm like, oh, I want to get into the deeper part.
And I'm taking video
Yeah.
and pictures and also dancing.
But I'm at the wrong end of the pool where the stairs are, so I had to go around the side, and then I go down the stairs, and this is the first time I've been in this pool.
Also, I'd like to point out, Shannon is 5'2".
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't know that it was really deep, or at least deep for me. And I also didn't realize that my rhinestone jacket, especially once it got wet, was really heavy. So I jump in the pool, and all of a sudden I'm like, whoa,
Going down.
I mean, and I'm a strong swimmer, so I was never in real danger. But I was like, okay, I'm not dancing. I'm treading water.
Did I mention velvet evening gown?
Okay, and it's velvet with some spandex in it. And like I said, it used to be tight. Well, it's not tight anymore. And once I got in the water, my boobs started floating. So the dress just kept... I kept realizing that the dress just kept flopping
say that
down.
there was
and
quite a show in the pool. And many people...
I'm trying to tread water, but also trying to keep myself, from... consent is king. None of these people consented to see my boobs. And, so...
And yet they did. They all did.
I thought Nina later told me that I flashed everybody multiple times.
Everyone.
In the moment, I thought I was handling it, and that was not happening.
And our Welsh friends, Joanne and
Richard.
Richard, were with me. Joanne ended up going in the pool and dancing, but Richard stayed with me on the sidelines taking pictures and also dancing. And his expression was priceless.
Apparently he has video of my boobs.
I think many people have video of your boobs, but he in particular was just
Luckily, I'm not the kind
stunned.
of person that is bothered by that, but Yeah, just be mindful that your evening wear, if you do take it into the pool, it may act differently in the water than it does on land. So just note to self.
Pro tip.
Pro tip. So yeah, I didn't stay in the deep part of the pool very long.
Oh,
I was fully drenched. And then I got out, and then I did lots of dancing.
And then you danced with every single member of the Happenings cast, I think.
Except the diva. I somehow missed the diva that night, and it wasn't until I was looking at Nina's pictures later that I realized when I was in the pool is when the diva was out.
Yeah, and the diva and I were kind of shaking it a little bit. It was great.
I missed her.
I didn't miss her.
But I got danced with Andre, and I danced with Maddie, and I danced with Joanne.
And Bianca Hurd, who was a former performer.
Oh, I forgot to tell you about that. So before we went out to the pool, at some point when we were still inside by the stairs, we had started chatting. Waldo was walking around.
Where's Waldo?
And we started chatting to him, and this beautiful woman was standing next to Bianca used to be a performer on Virgin Voyages, and
I think she was was she Lola?
Yeah, she played Lola for Lola's Library, which at that point we hadn't seen yet. And Bianca was just visiting on the ship. She was a passenger for this voyage, visiting her girlfriend, who is the current Lola of Lola's Library. And so we got to meet the current and the prior Lola, and we took fun pictures with them. Yes. And they had said, you have to come to Lola's Library, and you can come and sit with me, and da-da-da-da-da. So we were like, oh, we made friends with some of the cast, and that was exciting. We're in, right? So, and then Bianca was there, and so I got to do some dancing with Bianca at the side of the pool.
Yeah.
And I was having a great time. And then they start winding it down. Now, let me say this from another. We mentioned, I think, that we were both lawyers, and I
did we mention that?
I think we did the very beginning.
Okay.
Of the, well, because we talked about meeting in law school.
Yes, we met in law school. We're both former, now retired attorneys.
Yes, and we met in torts class, which is so. I just have this premises liability lens through which I see everything, which is kind of a buzzkill a lot of the times, honestly.
A little bit.
But yeah, I was like, God, this is insane. Like, no other cruise line that I know of does a pool party at night where everybody's drinking and they're dancing and people are jumping in and out of the pool. How has nobody broken their neck or their hip or anything else at this point? They had so many crew members just unobtrusively around
in a perimeter
with a constant cycle of dry towels running around and drying the floor.
Yes.
It was wild.
Amazing.
It was easy to not notice them, but once you realized that was what they were doing, I was just like, oh my God bless you people. Like, this is a hard job.
And also, they were watching to make sure everyone was safe. They had eyes on every guest. But in the most unobtrusive way.
I was super impressed with it. Like, I hope that this is a tradition that can continue forever. Yeah. I hope that nobody ever gets injured and there has to be a stop to it. But they're doing a really good job of preventing that. And of course, they're encouraging everyone to drink heavily. So not everyone is probably kind to them either. And I appreciate that is hard work. Hard work to be working a party like that when you can't be free to party yourself.
Right.
And to do it consistently over time, that's hard. But they were, at some point, they're like, okay, now we're wrapping this up.
Right. And they wind it down.
They wind it down. And the after party for Scarlet Night is in the Manor, which is the nightclub. And so I'm like, okay, I need to get out I don't want to go to the nightclub dripping wet. Like, we need to go to the room. I need to get my second Scarlet Night dress on, because I had brought two just in case I did get in the pool. And so I go and I get my shoes and my fishnets and my phone, which was miraculously still there. And we head to the room so I could change. And as we're walking to the room, I realize that my hip is really hurting. Like, every step is stabbing pain. And I'm like, I didn't fall down. And I
know. And you actually turned to ask me, did I fall down?
Right. I was like, I don't think I'm that drunk. Like, I was definitely not nearly as drunk that night as I ended up being the next night, which we've already talked about. But yeah, I was like, did I fall down and miss it? Like, and she's like, no. So I'm like, wow, I don't know why my hip hurts so bad, but it is killing me. But I'm like, I'm not letting it stop the party.
No, we party on. We soldier forward.
Yes, we switched. We did costume change.
Quick change in the room.
I headed to the nightclub.
The Manor.
And then when we got there was like nobody there.
We
were ahead of the curve. I think other people had gone off to do other things.
And maybe they were doing a little pre-gaming or post-gaming or whatever.
Yeah. So we got there and there was nobody there. And then a few people started to come in, but it was very 7th grade middle school dance vibe. Like everybody's standing around on the edges and nobody's dancing, and I'm dancing even with my hip hurting. I'm like, well, it hurts no matter what I do. I might as well dance.
And I'm dancing too, but we found a table on the edge. We're waiting for more people to arrive, but we're also not ready for the party to be over.
So I decide that I'm gonna pull a Dave. Essentially, this is my husband is named Dave, and I go to the bar and I say I want a tray of lemon drop shots. Mm-hmm. I can't remember.
Well, first you came to me to ask me if you thought that that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
And I said, no, that's actually not what happened. We were sitting at a table with some Brits, and I said,
that's right.
do you want to do shots? And they all declined. And so I turned to Shannon and I thought, we should do shots. And then Shannon took that thread and ran with it.
So I went up to the bar and asked for a tray of lemon drop shots. And I don't remember how many I got.
I think you got 8.
I think 8.
Or 10.
Something like that. And I was just going to take the tray. They would, for liability reasons, again, they're very well trained. They would not let me take the tray. I had to wait there for a couple of minutes until they had a server available who could walk with me and the tray. And then we went back and I worked the room and offered all the ladies... I mean, not that I would have excluded men, but, there were more women in there at the time, and offered ladies shots and tried to get them to come
on the dance floor.
Like, if you want their shot, you have to come on the dance floor.
Which I thought was precious and adorable.
Yeah, but the shots went pretty quickly, and there were still not that many people on the dance floor. No.
I had a shot. I danced. Yeah. It worked.
But a few people did.
Yeah, a couple people did.
A couple people did. And then eventually it got more. It wasn't as crazy. It never got as crazy.
It never got crowded, I would say.
Yeah. Although we also, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it was pretty late at night. But at some point,
we also decided to move on.
Yeah, we were hungry.
Yeah,
we got hungry. So we went and had late night pizza.
Oh, that was so much fun. Such a good time.
Yeah, there were a lot of people hanging out in the pizza area, and the pizza was
And I think a lot of people after the pool area maybe went to warm up and then stayed inside. Right. And there were a lot of people in the pizza joint.
Yeah.
And actually on the rocks, too. As we passed the bar, there were a ton of people in the bar, too. So maybe people just didn't go to the after party.
Right.
Or as many.
Yeah. But yeah, no, but we were in sound mind by the time. I mean, we were fun drunk, but we were of sound mind.
Yeah, we were just having a great time. We were in a great mood, having a great time, starving.
Right.
We had only eaten Test Kitchen that night. Nope, we didn't pink agave that night. Good grief.
Yeah, and then Sunday we've already talked about extensively. That's in the first episode. That's when we did the bottomless brunch, and then we went to the show that we don't remember.
Yes, see episode 1 for